we finished with all of these things. Now we understand what's the purpose of Torah, what's the purpose of the world. Not that I want to erase this, but you all get her contact info. Okay, great. So now, we said, right, that Torah is the condition of the world. Jewish people chose Torah. Everyone else sort of didn't choose, but there were people that chose. This is converts. Converts are the souls that do want to be part of the Jewish people, but as a whole, their nation said no, but they said yes. So God says, welcome. Okay, great. So then, right, we said Jewish people chose. What does it mean to choose? What was Abraham's life? Right? Like your ears listen to what your mouth is saying. If something is true, you have to do it. Not because you like it or not, but rather because something is true, right? That's what it means to be a chosen people. It means ambassadors of God. Chosen means responsibility. We're chosen because we chose. Really, I could have taught 2 more classes about this, but apparently all of you are deciding to leave anytime soon, so I should get to the next topic. Great. So the next question would be, God, so we're the chosen people. That's beautiful. Why do you make our life so hard? To be exact, we have 613 mitzvot that are divided into thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of mini mitzvot, so that pretty much at every single, she's looking at me in a very traumatized way, pretty much at every single second of your life, you could be involved doing a mitzvah, right? Actually, there are mitzvot on your basic necessities and on the things that you would even have to do just because you have to, like eating, drinking, sleeping, right, showering, right? But if you do them with awareness that you're doing a mitzvah, they become mitzvot. So now we said Judaism is not a self-gratifying religion. It's pretty hard. We're here to serve God, right? God is the center. I'm trying to reach the center. So my question is, why do we have so many mitzvot? Why is life so hard? Couldn't just God make it a little bit easier, right? Literally, you have mitzvot for when you sleep, for when So why do we have so many mitzvot? So that's one question. First of all, let's understand what a mitzvah is. So if you've been in an event enough, and you talk to a seminary girl, and you ask her, what's a mitzvah? She'll tell you, any nice thing I want you to do for me, okay? Did you ever notice this is like the definition of people? Can you do a mitzvah? Can you bring me a cup? No, that's not a mitzvah. It's not included in the 613 commandments, okay? Don't tell me I didn't tell you. Do not let people brainwash you and take advantage of you calling it a mitzvah. This is specifically when you go home, your parents go, isn't there a mitzvah to respect your parents? You have to do everything I say. I mean, there is a mitzvah to respect your parents. That doesn't mean you have to do everything they say. You can't contradict them, but we're not going to go into it because I'm not teaching you how to respect your parents. I'm not very good at it, but I've gotten so much better. So if, Mom, you ever see this, I am improving. Okay. The beauty of being recorded. Okay, great. So again, most people think, what's a mitzvah? A mitzvah is a good deed. This is not true whatsoever. Okay? The word mitzvah is really translated as a commandment. Okay? We have 613 of them. But now, what is a commandment? Okay? The word mitzvah comes from the word tzav. Tzav has 2 meanings. Now, you really need to understand what I'm going to say right now, because then I'm going to give you some truth that you're not going to like. But I'm going to teach it anyways, because this is what I do. The word mitzvah comes from the word tzav. Tzav has 2 meanings. It's order, commandment, this is why we call it a mitzvah, or connection. Yeah?
How is tzav different from seder in the word of order?
Seder? No, this is tzadik vav.
Right, but you say it means order, so what's the difference?
No, seder, it's order of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so this
Yeah?
order is...
Tzav is order of commandment. You shall be nice to your mother. Okay? So now, right, this is very important. By definition, when someone tells you to do something, do you want to do it? No. By definition, even when someone tells you to do something that you usually do because you want to do it, the moment someone tells you how to do it, now you don't want to. Why? Because you like doing whatever you want whenever you want. You have a sense of autonomy, independence. You want to own your life, which I'm not really going to go into it, but we spoke about this last time. The more you think you do whatever you want and therefore you're free, the more not free you are because you're really enslaved to your own self, right? But what do we know? When someone commands you to do something, you by definition do not want to do it. You love watching TV. Your mom comes and says, now you're going to sit and watch TV. You ever saw Matilda, right? The kid loves chocolate cake. What happened when the lady says, Mrs. What's her name? I forgot. She's scary. Okay? Huh? Trunchbull. Ugh, what happens when Mrs. Trunchbull says you have to eat chocolate cake? Who would want that? I don't want that, right? So now listen to what a mitzvah is. God gave you 613 commandments with millions and millions of ramifications. By definition, when God commands you to do something, you don't want to do it, but you overcome the fact that you don't want to do it because you yearn for connection with God more than you yearn for connection with your own self. You heard that? This is very important. Let's go again. What's a mitzvah? Mitzvah comes from my desire to connect to God. How do I connect to God? By being commanded into doing something. I don't want to do it. But God, I love you more than I even love myself, and therefore I let go of my own ego. I let go of my own wants, my own needs, because I yearn for connection with you. Therefore, let me make a bold statement, right? If the whole point of doing a mitzvah is developing a relationship with God, and I'm going to explain, so don't go yet. If I have no awareness that I'm doing a mitzvah when I'm doing a mitzvah, it's not a mitzvah, right? Because what? By definition, can I connect to someone that I don't know it's on the other side of the table? No. I can only develop a relationship. What's the first step in developing a relationship? It's acknowledging there's someone to develop a relationship with, right? Can I develop a relationship with someone if I don't know they exist? No. And therefore, let's say this again. In order for a mitzvah to be a mitzvah, and I'm going to explain, I have to have awareness of a mitzvah. So one more time. God commands you to do something. You don't want to do it. But being that you want to connect to God so much, you overcome yourself, you overcome your ego, and therefore you connect with God. Right? This is the way it works. Therefore, that means, right, there's a very famous saying in Hebrew, right? This is written in Pirkei Avot. It says, Lefum tzara agra. According to the effort is the reward. Right? This is the equation. According to the effort is the reward. Some people say, but it's so hard for me. The harder it is for you, the more of a relationship you're doing. Because when we spoke about Nasem and Ishma, what did I say? If I don't like cookies and I give them to you, is that called giving? No. What is ultimate giving? I want it for myself, my Belgian waffle. But I love you more than I love my Belgian waffle, and therefore I'm able to share. Like Ellie shares all of her in course, which she doesn't like anyways. I'm joking. Right, she likes the Twix. Right, but what is the point? The harder it is for me, do I have to overcome myself so much more? But therefore, I am making a statement that I love you that much more, that I want to connect that much more. So sometimes people say, but it's so hard for me. You're so lucky. Your statement is that much greater. Because being that you have to overcome yourself so much more, you are making a statement that that relationship matters to you that much more, right? It is not hard to give when I don't really care about what I'm giving. That's why I told you one time, and let's repeat this phrase. This is a very important phrase. The Torah says, right? We know we have free will. What is the ultimate choice of free will? Listen to this. Is to let go of your free will to God. I say to God, God, really, I love you so much. Whatever you want, that's what I do. Because we said when you love someone, right? What makes you happy? To make that someone that you love happy. And really, love is measured like this. How much would I be willing to let go for you? Because what did we say, right? How do I know what I really want? You remember this? There's something tell me what you want, what you really want. And then there is, do you really want it? How do you know which one you want? How do you know what's number one? What would I be willing to let go for number one? The more you're willing to let go for something, the higher up on the scale, on the priority order it goes. Right? And therefore, God commands you to do something. I don't want to do it. But God, I want you. And therefore, it doesn't really matter if I want to do it or not. The fact that I am commanded gives me that resistance that I wouldn't want to do it because I am commanded. But I do it because I yearn for connection. This is why, right, let's make a statement. The Torah says a person should never say, I don't like pig. Right? But rather, a person should say, I would eat pig, but God doesn't let me. You hear the difference? I would eat pig. I would wear shorts. I wouldn't because I don't look good on them. But, right? But God doesn't let me. Because really, why don't we eat pig? Because God says you can't eat pig. If God would say you should eat pig, do you have to eat pig? Yes. This is why, by the way, if you ever look into a Torah, all of the people that were tested were always tested with that quality which was natural for them. For example, Yaakov. We know that Yaakov was a man of truth. What was his test? Go cheat and pretend yourself. How could that be? Oh, because are you a truthful person because it emanates from you, because it's your nature, or because I command you? You hear that? How am I going to know when God asks you to not be truthful? Are you going to do it? Yes. Why? Because I wasn't doing it just because it was emanating from me, but because God said it. Esther, she was the most modest woman that ever existed. You don't know Esther from Megillat Esther, Queen Ahasuerus, whatever. There was this king called Ahasuerus. He was picking a wife, right? Esther. If I say it in Ashkenaz, it makes sense? Okay, Esther. No, it's really Esther, Aval Beseder. Okay. So you know what happened with Queen Esther? Esther. I said it right now? Okay. I'm like getting into my Ashkenazi vibes. There was this king called Ahasuerus. He was picking a wife, right? So all of the wives did a parade. Everyone came with their makeup, their stuff, whatever. And the Torah said Esther came without anything. She just, she was shy. So she was like, okay, don't pick me, whatever. And then suddenly what happened? Mordecai says to Esther, Mordecai, or whatever you people call it, right? He says to Esther, Ahasuerus wants to kill the Jewish people because of Haman. You need to do something. Go and present yourself to a king, right? Obviously, it doesn't mean like go and present yourself to a king and like say you want to say something. It means no, like use your female enchantment, okay? Now, the Torah says Esther went, she wore her royal clothing, okay, get a hint on it, and she seduced Ahasuerus. Now, imagine you're the most modest woman in the world, and you have to go and seduce this guy you don't even like. You have to do some stuff, you have to have some tricks under the table, right? Why did God do this to her? Because Esther, are you modest because that's your nature? How am I going to know if you're being modest because it's your nature or because it's a mitzvah? When I request you to break that mitzvah, would you do it? Yes. Because how do you know when a mitzvah is a mitzvah? Would you be willing to break that mitzvah if God tells you to do so? Because in reality, why do you keep the mitzvah? Because God told you. And if the mitzvah is to break the mitzvah, that's the mitzvah. You understand? Is it coming from you or is it coming from God? Abraham was the most kind person, always fighting against sacrificing his son, people's children, whatever. Says God, go and sacrifice your child. By the way, the whole Torah says you shouldn't do it. But God says, go and do it. What do you mean, God? You wrote in your Torah, you shouldn't do it. Fine, but if that Torah was written by me and now I decide to write something else. I mean, he didn't decide to write something else. But I tell you, do you have to do it? Yes, because what is at the end of the day your choice? What I'm choosing is to do the will of God. Does it matter, right? If I get, not get, understand, not understand the will of God? No. My choice is to do the will of God. Even when the will of God looks different from what I thought was the will of God. You understand that? So now, a person says, you shouldn't say, I wouldn't eat pig. I would eat pig, but God does not let me. And if you're one time starving and there's nothing to eat except for pig, and you might be very happy, okay? And you eat that pig, you're doing a mitzvah. Because the Torah says you cannot die out of starving, and if there's something to eat, you're obligated to break the mitzvah in order to do it. And if you're in the middle of Shabbat and someone is dying or whatever, and you need to call, someone, you have to do it. And breaking Shabbat in that moment, it's actually doing a mitzvah. And if you're going to a wedding and the bride is horrible, okay, have you ever seen a horrible bride? Not so many. And she asks you, how do I look? And you tell her you look beautiful, you're not lying. You're doing a mitzvah. Because there's a mitzvah of making a bride happy on her wedding day. You understand this? This is how it goes. So now, let's go into our next point. What did we say? If I'm doing a mitzvah without awareness that I'm doing a mitzvah, it's not really a mitzvah. Now, it could be making me into a better person, because obviously there are some mitzvot that are just going to make you into a better person. If you speak the truth, is that a mitzvah in the Torah? Yes. If I'm a person that always speaks the truth, am I getting into being a better person? Of course I am. If I return lost objects, is that turning me into a better person? Yes. But if I don't do it with the awareness it's a mitzvah, it's not a mitzvah. Now, whenever I say this, people go crazy. Because it could be you kept mitzvot all of your life without having really done mitzvot. But the reality is, let's say I have money in the bank. We discussed this one time. But I do not know I have money in the bank. Do I know do I have money in the bank? No. You understand? If you do a mitzvah without knowing it's a mitzvah, are you relating to someone? No. You still did the mitzvah. I still have the money, but I technically don't have the money. You understand? That's the way it works, right? Now, obviously, there are some mitzvot that you cannot do without knowing their mitzvot, like Shabbat. No one would ever just decide, I'm going to keep Shabbat, right? Okay? But the greater your awareness that you're doing something because it's a mitzvah, the greater the mitzvah is. Therefore, that means, right, that if I only do something because it's logical, because I like it, because I agree with it, my mitzvah is not that big. Because let's say I keep kosher because I think it's healthy, right? Who am I connecting to? Myself. I am the center of my world. Am I connecting to God? There's not even God in the picture, right? I don't even realize there's God. Let's say I keep, let's say the fashion now is maxi skirts. Everyone has maxi skirts today. Take advantage of the fact you could wear them. They're not made for people like me. The point is, okay, you go, and what's fashion now? Maxi skirt. So you go, you buy a few. Are you wearing a skirt? Yes. Are you dressing modestly? Yes. Are you keeping tzeniut? No. You don't even know what tzeniut is. How could you be keeping something if you don't even know what it is? You know what happens? If I'm dressing modestly, because maxi skirts are in fashion, right? Let's say, by the way, do people do this? Yes. When maxi skirts are not going to be on fashion, am I going to wear them anymore? No. So was I ever really tanua? What did we say last time? When a baby gives little steps, the whole point of those little steps is to get to walk. But if I only gave baby steps, I mean, obviously, in my case, I don't even have awareness I'm doing the baby steps, right? But I didn't get to walk. Were there a point for the baby steps? No. If I wear skirts because I like them, right, without having awareness, I'm doing it because God says I should do it. Does that mean I'm going to wear skirts for my whole life? Am I relating to God? Am I doing it because it's right, or am I doing it because I like it? You understand this? If I keep kosher because it's healthy and logic, will I keep all of the other mitzvahs when I don't think they're healthy and logic? No. And at the end of the day, if the Torah is truth, and the Torah is perfect, it comes from God. And therefore, everything in it is truth and perfect. Now, it might be I don't agree with it, it might be I don't like it, but my knowledge is limited anyways. And therefore, it's okay. You understand? Now, obviously, there are many things that your soul dictates to you, and you know for them to be right. But again, I cannot relate to someone if I don't know that that someone is. And therefore, if all of my life I return lost objects, and if I went to a cashier and I gave back money, I could be a nice person. I could be Mother Teresa. I am a very good person, right? But I'll show you this in one moment. But my question is, right, did that allow me to connect to God? No, because it emanated from myself. It didn't emanate from God. And I'm going to tell you something very big, and you'll see. Yeah.
My question is that there's a lot of, I guess, certain rules or, that go along with mitzvahs and different things that the rabbis make or, rabbinic. Why do we have to follow them if they're not straight from God? I know
Great.
it's better, but,
So let me tell you one of the 613 commandments. One of the 613 commandments is, quote, you should safeguard my Torah. Next one, you should not deviate from the rabbis either to the right or to the left.
some of them are
Wait. You should safeguard my Torah, yeah? Does that mean that rabbis need to do things in order to protect the Torah whenever they see that someone could fall on that? Yes. Therefore, if you're doing what a rabbi said you should be doing, not a rabbi, there's ways. It's the majority, it's lots of things, right? Then am I actually keeping the Torah? If your mom goes out with your dad and she says, your older brother is in charge, do you have to listen to your older brother? By listening to your older brother, are you listening to your mom? Yes, same thing. You understand? Now, when the Torah says you should not deviate from the rabbis either to a right or to a left, because in this, we have no ability to know exactly. I mean, it's obviously in the Torah. But when I have a question, how do I know what God wants? God is not going to reveal to me and give me the answer. You understand? Right? But what happens? God, we have something called emunat chachamim. God's eyes in this world, if you want to call it that way, is the rabbis. And therefore, when I'm doing what the rabbi said, I'm really doing what God says, because they're representing God in this world. You understand? Why? Because obviously they studied the most, they're the closest to what God is. You understand? And therefore, when I'm doing what the rabbi said, even though it is from the rabbis, I'm really doing what God is saying. The only difference is, let's say, Shabbat, and I have to break Shabbat, there will be a difference whether I break it from the Torah or from the rabbis. How do I break it? But at the end of the day, everything that I approach is like that. By the way, it says you shouldn't deviate from the rabbis to a right or to a left. So Rashi, the main commentary in the Torah, says, even if the rabbis tell you your right is your left and your left is your right, you have to do what they say. So all of that time I was like, really? That's crazy. Like imagine, you believe in something and the rabbis tell you exactly the opposite. You have to do what they said. This is why it doesn't say you shouldn't deviate. Shouldn't deviate to a right or to a left. Even if they tell you your right is your left is your right, you have to do what they said. So how could you accept this? But then one day I understood, By the way, did you ever notice also that rabbis don't agree with each other? Ashkenazim don't eat kidneyot in Pesach. Sephardi doesn't eat kidneyot in Pesach, they die. When I was dating, I wouldn't date an Ashkenazi, I'm not joking, just because he wouldn't eat rice on Pesach. And then I was like, wait, it's just a week of your life. You have potatoes. But like, really? I wanted to die? Okay, now I am Ashkenazi, so I eat potatoes. You people eat so much potatoes. Okay, let's not even get started. Right, but for Sephardi, now how could it be that for someone something is completely right, for someone something is completely wrong? Yes? So then I understood. There was this cake in Facebook the other day. You what's all this cake? It's a big lesson on Shalom Bait, how to have peace with your husband and wife, right? The wife wanted a white wedding cake. The husband wanted a wedding cake that was from Superman. How do you call these people? Superman and Batman? There's a name for them? Superheroes, whatever. No, but there's like a... Comics. Okay, super comics. The point is, the designer made a white cake that then opened up a little layer, was like a curtain, and then you had Batman. Okay? So if you look at it from this side, is it white? If you look at it from this side, is it Batman? If this person says it's Batman, is this person like, you crazy, it's white? If this person says it's white, is this person like, you crazy, Batman? Can both of them work together? Yes, you see? Judaism, right? Everything works, because what did I say last time? Judaism is a circle. I could come from any point of the circle to a center and it's always okay, right? But what is the point? The rabbis are there to protect the center. When we make choices, many times it's because I want to be a center. I just don't like it. I don't agree with it. It's not comfortable for me. That's the difference. It's right when you're looking to protect the Torah, when you're looking to do the Torah better. When I'm looking to do my life better, then obviously there's a little problem. I move the center. You understand? Right? So that's the thing. So, having said this, by the way, I do want to add this. Really, I teach this later, but I'm going to do it now because you guys are here. Lots of people say, but why do I need God in order to live a good life? Lots of people tell me, but I'm a good person. You ever heard this? Okay, you need to know this because you're always going to get someone that's usually Jewish that tells you, I don't need to be religious. I'm a good person. Have you ever heard this? Okay? In Israel, they have this saying called, Ani Yehudi balev. I'm a Jew in the heart. So lots of people put all of the pressure in the heart, so this is not good. You could get a heart attack. Okay? But a lot of people say this. So my question is, can you really be a good person without God? Why do I need God to command every single area of my life? Okay, so let's say I didn't do a mitzvah. What, I can't be a good person because I don't have mitzvot? What, Mother Teresa, she was a very good person. Yes, very good. When they had a lady in Mechina, she did not like Mother Teresa. Okay, I don't know why, but they were not friends. She was arguing with me the whole time. But is Mother Teresa a good person? Yes. Was she religious? Did she ever keep a mitzvah? No. So, why do I need mitzvot in order to be a good person? Why do I need, if I know it is wrong to steal, to do this, to do that, still being a good person, I don't need God. Yes? Is this a valid thing? So now let me really ask you a question and think about this. Can you be an ultimate good person without Torah? Yes or no? Ultimate. Meaning the best you could ever be. Best buy. Can you ever be glad kosher without Torah? Yes or no? No. How do we understand this? And I'm going to give you something big. Think about this. It is written in the Torah. This is in Ethics of Our Fathers. Without Imen Derech Eretz in Torah, if you don't have good values, you cannot have Torah. Meaning you have to have morals and good qualities before you even get Torah. You remember the story of Rabbi Akiva? He didn't know any Torah, but his wife was able to sacrifice everything for him. Why would you do that? He was an ignorant. And the Torah says because she saw potential, because he had good qualities. Good qualities are like the container in order to have Torah. You need to have good qualities. If you don't have good qualities, Torah doesn't go into a container. It's as if your container has holes and therefore everything goes out. This is why many times you see religious people that are not very good people. Because they could be studying a lot of Torah, but there's nothing to contain it. And therefore it just goes outside. It doesn't remain, right? By the way, I always like to say, and this is very important, don't judge Torah by Jews. We don't always represent the Torah. You know, even the religious Jews, we're not perfect because we're religious. Don't judge Torah by Jews. If we would be behaving in the Torah way, believe me, the world would be perfect. But not because I look religious, that already means I'm perfect. And the difference is I'm trying to perfect myself, which maybe other people are not, but I'm for sure not perfect. You know, for sure, right? But now, what does it say? If you don't have good values, you can't have Torah. Im ein derech eretz, ein Torah, right? But then it says, quote, אבל אם אין Torah, ein derech eretz. But if you don't have Torah, you cannot have good values. You hear this? If you don't have good values, you can't have Torah. But if you don't have Torah, you can't have good values. Apparently, they're interconnected, interdependent. You can't have one without the other one. Now, why does it work like that? So I always say, we all have a definition of what's good and what's not. Usually it's according to our society, our house, where we come from, right? And we have a moral compass. But this compass is not always in tune with reality. How many things did you guys say 5 years ago you would never do? And 5 years later, you did all of them. How many things? Lots of things. And by the way, when you said you would never do them, you were like, that's completely wrong. And guaranteed, when you did them, you found a million reasons why wasn't that so wrong. Could be because everyone does it, or you didn't knew better, you know, whatever. But is this the way it is? Does everyone have a moral compass, but it changes with age? It changes with, you know, knowledge of life, whatever you want to call it. You know, one time, I'm not discussing whether you could do this or not, but one time I was like giving a speech to like 18 years old. So I don't know how we got into it, so I was discussing something, and I said like, what do you guys think of abortion? I'm not discussing whether you could do this or not. There's space for both in the Torah, but I'm not discussing this. So they said, no, I would never abort. That's completely wrong. You know, they came from like a religious society. So then I'm like playing with them, whatever. 20 minutes later, I'm like telling them a story. And then I said, but she was 14 and she got pregnant. What was she supposed to do? They all said, she should have aborted. I'm like, what? Did you just tell me 20 minutes ago you shouldn't do it and now you're saying you should? And they're like, I mean, but like, I'm 18. She's 14. How could she do it? So I'm like, oh, so abortion is very wrong unless you need to do it? By the way, is this how everyone lives their lives? Something is very wrong unless I sort of need it, you know, and therefore it becomes right. Let's give you an example. Does everyone think killing is bad? Yes, right? Hitler made killing into not only something allowed, something good, pretty much a mitzvah. You shall kill, you know? He made this into a mitzvah, right? Now you could say, oh, because Hitler was evil. That's not true. The Germans, you ever saw the Nuremberg trials, the movie? Okay, if you haven't seen this, you should. All of that 12, they were 12, but one of them committed suicide. 11, one of them committed suicide. When they were all asked, why did you do what you did? And if you found yourself guilty, they said, no, I followed instructions. This is what each one did. After they were shown that they killed thousands and thousands of people. How could it be? It's very important. Because you could take any premise in life and reduce it, you know, and like rationalize it until not only is it allowed, it's a mitzvah, right? Give you another example. You know, let's take out of it. Killing is bad, right? You know that Walmart publishes every single year a list of how many people do they think will be damaged or dead after the holiday season by being trampled, okay? I'm not joking. I think last year they did, or 2 years ago, they did 2,500, you know, because you people have Black Friday. It's like after you're being thankful for everything you have, you should kill other people. Okay, but whatever, I'm not making a joke about it. But there was this guy 1 year, I don't remember when it was. He went into Walmart, you know, and like they kill people. It's like Jumanji, Stampede. Last year, a woman wanted an Xbox. She not joking, she stabbed 3 people in order to get the Xbox insane. She went to jail. She still got the Xbox because apparently if you pay for it, it's yours. Okay, don't ask me questions about this. Okay, now if you would have asked this woman before, She had a criminal record? Probably not, but I want the Xbox, and therefore it's okay. It's okay to kill. Is stealing bad? Yes or no? You ever go to the M&M stores? Do you take the M&Ms without paying for them? That's called stealing. Like American Airlines, not joking, saved, I think, $1 million, maybe $1 billion, I don't remember, by taking out one olive from each plate of food in first class. So believe me, when you're taking those M&Ms and you're not paying for them, you're stealing, okay? You ever go to a supermarket and you take grapes and grapes and grapes? You know how much grapes people eat without paying? You ever go to a doctor and you get there late? Yes or no? That's called stealing? The next patient, you stole from their time. You ever go to a supermarket and you put your cart and then you go shopping? That's called stealing. You're stealing people's time. By the way, there is this famous movie called Robin Hood, or cartoon, or whatever you want, right? Robin Hood was a thief, right? He's considered a hero. Okay, in this case, I guess it's a little different because the guy stole from everyone else. Okay, whatever, but still what he did was through stealing, yes or no? One time I was talking to someone in Panama, and she was like, but Robin Hood steals from the rich to the poor. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, wait, so if you're stealing from rich people in order to give to poor people, then it's okay? She's like, well, yes, poor people have to live. I'm like, wait, so you're rich and poor. Can I steal from you? So she says, no. And I'm like, why not? She's like, because you know me. I'm like, okay, we're not friends anymore. Can I steal now? when does it become right? By the way, this is a hero. Do we have all of this in? Yes. So what happens, listen to this. You can take any premise in the world and change it according to your needs. By definition, right? Have you ever met someone that doesn't consider themselves a good person? I'm not talking about someone with self-esteem. If you ask someone, do you consider yourself a good person? Will most people say yes? By the way, let me ask you a question. If you would put into his room Mother Teresa and Hitler, okay, both of them, and you ask them, do you consider yourself a good person? Who would say it with much more pride, Hitler or Mother Teresa? Hitler. Isn't that interesting? Because what is good? Who's defining what's good and what's not? Who's doing that? I'm defining it. I am defining when you live a good life, yes? Your definition of what it means to be good is coming from yourself, right? It's coming from whatever you learned in your life, but it's dictated by yourself. By definition, if good is dictated by you, it's always subjective. It's always biased. It is good for, an Arab maybe, and they do it to blow himself up. They make streets on the name of people that, blew themselves up and killed people. They consider them heroes. Are they wrong? Right? For them, this is good. Okay? For everyone has a different definition of good. Does that make sense? And therefore, by definition, this is what the Torah is saying, if I want to be ultimately good, my definition of good needs to come from somewhere objective. Because that would be the only way of dictating what is really right and not what it sounds good to me. By definition, there's only one objective truth, that's God. Because do all of us gain from whatever choice and decision and understanding we have in life? Of course we do. This is why your moral compass is changing. You understand? Because you're changing. And you need to make it look good because none of us want to be bad people. We all want to be good people. So what am I going to do? I'll still do something that looked at me as being bad, but I just made it look good. That's why, by the way, we call it rationalizing. What is rationalizing? Rational lies. But you're still lying to yourself. You're not listening to what your mouth is saying. You're doing something else. You're not in tune. You understand? And therefore, let's go back to it. What does the Torah says? You cannot have Torah if you don't have good values, but you cannot have good values without Torah. Because the only way of really being good is having objective truth that dictates to you what good is. And therefore, coming back to everything I've been saying, right? What's the whole point of a mitzvah? All of a mitzvah, every single mitzvah, and I'll talk about this more tomorrow, is done like this. I could study anything I want about the mitzvah. That's in order to make myself do it happily and inspiring or whatever. But when it comes to why am I doing the mitzvah? Why am I doing it? Because God said so. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if you like it, if you think it's logic, nothing. Why am I doing it? Because God said so. Because the whole point is, When I allow some of myself to get in the middle of my action, then I'm going to lose at the end of the day, because I'm going to allow myself to be able to make the choices based on what I like, based on what I want. I'm making myself the center. You have to train yourself to always do the actions just because God said so. That's the only way you could guarantee that you're really making the right thing. Because it's not emanating from you. You're not biased. It's emanating from God. You understand? And by the way, if you see this, whenever we see that, there's a famous part in the Torah, and then I'll finish with this, that Abraham goes down with Sarah to Abimelech, a famous king. So Abimelech was going to sleep with Sarah. You remember this story? Abraham said she was the sister, so he was going to sleep with her. So Hashem sent like a plague, and Abimelech got hurt by this plague. So the next day, Abimelech sees Abraham and Sarah playing. Okay, they were not playing burraco, they were playing other things. Okay, whatever. And Abimelech says to Abraham, why did you lie to me saying she was your sister when she's really your wife? Don't you know that in this country we don't behave like that? We don't do like, taking people's wives, because what used to be, people would kill the husband in order to stay with the wife. So Abimelech says, don't you know that we don't behave like this? So Abraham said, it's only because I saw there was no God in this place. So Rashi says, what does it mean? Only because I saw there was no God. And something huge. It says, I saw you have rules, but there is one little only you don't have. And that's called God. And you know what happens when there's no God? There's no rules. Is that true? When there's no God, there's no rules. You have rules, but you change the rules. Rabbi Fran brings a story in order to put this point. He says that it was in Germany, it was Kristallnacht, the night of the broken glasses, whatever you want to call this. So there was a Jewish family that their house was on fire. What do you do when your house is on fire? You call the fire people. Yes, you call them fire people? Okay. They called the fire people. So they said, we have a fire, you need to put it out. So the fire people said, we're not allowed. So they said, what are you talking about? Isn't your job to put out fire? And they said, we're not allowed to put out fire of Jewish people. When there's no God, rules are not rules. Everyone does whatever they want. That's why Pirkei Avot says, pray for the welfare of the government. There should be only one king. When you have more than one, people eat each other alive. Great. So mitzvah, I don't want to do it. I do it because I connect. We'll continue with this tomorrow. Great.